What's up, YouTube? This is Bystanderx79, guys. Today I'm coming to you with my latest deck profile video for April 2022. And today, guys, we're going to be looking at my updated Numeron Kaiju deck. Now, Numeron Kaiju is a go second deck, and it's built to break boards and ultimately end the duel with a very big and powerful punch. Now, the deck did pick up a few extra pieces with the last Maximum Gold set, and to be honest, it does add an extra layer of a win condition to this deck. And we'll turn around and talk about that as we get to the cards. So without further ado, we're going to get right into the deck profile, starting with the monsters as always. So what we're going to be doing is cover the kaijus first. First and foremost, we have 2 copies of Dogoron, 2 copies of Godarla, and 3 copies of Gameciels. Now, this is the kaiju package I run in the deck. It's 7 cards. And the key thing about all these kaijus is they're all level 8, and that's the primary reason why I'm running them. Kaijus allow you to tribute off your opponent's monsters, special them to your opponent's side of the field, and from there, you can just get rid of problematic cards and ultimately use these monsters as a way to punch over your opponent, since they don't really have any effects. For the Numeron side, we run 3 copies of Numeron Wall. Numeron Wall, as long as you don't control any other cards on the field, you can discard this card from your hand, and it's a quick effect to basically search your deck and activate a Numeron network right from your deck, which is awesome. Another cool thing about this card is it is kind of hand trap-esque, where if you take damage during the battle, you can special summon this card to your field again if you don't have anything on your field, and it automatically ends the battle phase. Now, to help get you field spells, we are running 2 copies of Planet Pathfinder. Yes, it'll eat your normal summon, but then again, you don't really normal summon all that much in this deck anyway. So, normal summon, you tribute this card off, you search your deck for Numeron Network. For the hand traps, we are running 3 copies of Ash, and right now I have 2 copies of Nibiru. Ash pretty much is Ash. Your opponent can just their deck in any way, you can just negate what they're doing, and Nibiru punishes your opponent for overextending. They summon 5 times, you drop this card, you're pretty much breaking their board. And that's it for the monster lineup. We're going into the spells. And speaking of board breakers, we have 2 copies of Dark Hole. Destroys monsters on both sides of the field, but hey, this deck likes to run a lot of go second cards, and you're going to be seeing a lot of different mass board wipes to help you do such things. So, 2 copies of that. Sometimes your opponent puts up a board that you can't really crack through that easily, even with kaiju, so you're going to want to have 2 copies of Dark Rule and more. Good thing about it is it allows you to play uninterrupted. Bad news is that you can't do any damage, so you have to wait a turn to really be able to punch your opponent out, but still, it does serve its purpose. We are running 1 copy of Lightning Storm. Lightning Storm, in my opinion, gives me a little bit more flexibility when it comes to what I want to destroy. So if I happen to play against a more back row heavy deck, I can use this to wipe out the back row, or I can just use this to wipe out my opponent's monsters. It gives me that little bit of flexibility. In case I'm going against a more back row heavy deck, I can always swap this out for more back row hate, Harpy's Feather, Third, Twin Twisters, things like that. This deck is very keen on draw power, and I actually do have 2 copies of Memory Hope in this deck. Memory Hope is insane because you get to draw cards equal to the number Xyz monsters with different names that you control, and this deck can put up 4 different number monsters on the field at one time. So yeah, you're going to get be able to draw into 4 cards deeper into your deck, so that's why it's so important for this deck. As for the other Numerons, we have 3 copies of Numeron Network and 2 copies of Numeron Call. This is pretty much the basic ratio you're going to see in every Numeron deck. Network is your field spell. Basically, as long as it's in the field, your Numeron big seas monsters, they don't have to worry about detaching materials to activate their effects, which is really huge. And Numeron Calling basically allows you to special, as long as you have a network on the field, after activating this card from your hand, you can actually be able to special summon up to 4 different Numeron monsters from your extra deck to the field. Okay, and the other cool thing about it is that Numeron Network can actually send more calling to the graveyard and act as calling itself. So, all in all, that's the whole strategy to get your Numerons onto the field. Okay, we got 2 more board wipes, and that's 2 copies of Raigeki. Self-explanatory. The reason why we're running 2 Raigeki over the Lightning Storm is basically Raigeki has no restrictions, and it also basically destroys all monsters your opponent controls, while Lightning Storm only hits those that are face-up attack position. We got 1 copy of Terraforming. You want to see your field spell. 3 copies of Trade-ins, because this is why we run the Kaiju, the low-level Kaijus. You get the draw power. We also have 2 copies of triple tactical talents, or triple tactic talents, whatever you want to call it, triple T. Your opponent activating card effects during your turn. Pretty much guaranteed here, so this card's going to be live really fast. And then it can get you extra draws, it can allow you to swipe one of your opponent's monsters, it can even allow you to rip a card out of your opponent's hand, so it really allows you to mess with your opponent a little bit more, or see more cards, so definitely it is a must in this deck. And then last but not least, we run 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence, the last hand trap in the deck. Infinite Impermanence, pretty much self-explanatory, can negate monster effects for the entire turn, and just cause problems for your opponent. That's it for the main deck. We're going to go into the extra deck. The extra deck, okay, we're going to start with the Numerons. So we run 2 copies of number 1 Gate, or number 1 Gate Ekim, 2 copies of number 2 Gate Div, 2 copies of number 3 Gate Trini, and then 2 copies of number 4 Gate Katvari. Okay, running 2 of each allows you to be able to get these cards onto the field and be able to punch. Cool thing about these cards is that every time these cards attack, they're not destroyed by battle. And then their effects will activate, allowing you to be able to double all the your Numeron cards attack. So you attack once, all the monsters become 2,000. You attack twice, they all become 4,000. You attack 3 times, all of them become 8,000, and by that time you'll probably be over all your opponent's monsters, and you're able to basically punch big. Not only that, but since they're easy to get onto the field, you can actually extend into different plays afterward. One of the plays is one of the new cards is this number C1 Numeron Chaos Gate Sunya. Alright, then the Chaos Gate here, when it's summoned, it acts as a board wipe because it basically banishes all monsters on the field, which is huge. The other thing about it is that during your next standby phase, it special summons itself back from the banish onto your field, and if you happen to have Numeron Network, you're actually going to be hitting your opponent with damage equal to the number of the combined attack of all banished seas monsters, which is insane, because you can, the first time you do this, you'll be able to hit your opponent with 3k effect damage. The second time, you should be able to hit this card with up to 6k. Your opponent probably will survive the first one, but they won't survive the second one. Okay. One more thing that I'm going to talk about a little bit here. The reason why you're not going to be seeing the C1000 or the CI1000 predominantly is basically because by the time you have the situation set up where you can actually summon the C1000, you're already in control of the duel, and you should have already had the duel won by that point. I feel that it's just an unnecessary flex to hit your opponent with a 10k beat stick. So that's just my opinion. I mean, if you want to run it, fine. But the way this deck is built, it'll get it done anyway. Alright, we do have other link monsters because this deck can put up at least 4 different monsters on the field, and that can actually give you a lot of different options. So the first one we're going to do is Infinitrack Fortress Megaclops. All you need is 3 Xyz monsters to summon this guy out. 4k attack. Can't be destroyed by other monster card effects except for Xyz monsters. Can't be destroyed in battle unless it's with an Xyz monster. Very awesome, and depending on what your opponent's running, really can cause problems for your opponent. Next up, we have Appaloosa. You can easily make a 4-monster Appaloosa, which gives you 3200 attack to negate your opponent's monster effects. Just be careful that Appaloosa just negates the effect, it doesn't destroy the card that it negates. If you want to see more cards, we have 1 copy of Saruja Skulldread. Saruja Skulldread, very awesome. Okay, power boost any monster it points to. You get an additional special summon, and using 4 names, you get to basically draw 4 cards and then place 3 cards back to the bottom of your deck. So you get to fix your hand for your upcoming turn. Next up, next link 4 we're running is Topological Zeroboros. This is actually a very awesome card to have in this deck. Anytime cards are special summons to the zones it points to, it banishes everything. Banishes all the monsters on the field, and then during your next turn, it comes back onto the field. And it's just a beast with 3k attack. And finally, we are running Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. All 4 Numerons plus a monster off your opponent's field creates this thing called will lock down your opponent's graveyard, negating effects out of it. Which is always very useful to help stall out plays. Alright guys, that is it for my Numeron Kaiju deck profile for April 2022. Guys, I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give this video a thumbs up. If you want to see more content like this on my channel, make sure to subscribe and enable notifications so you don't see any uploads. Check out the description box below. Find the invite link to my Discord server. Join our conversation. We'd love to have you. Check out my TCG Player Affiliate Link when you shop on TCGplayer.com. Great way to help support the channel. Follow me on social media, Master Duel, and guys, until next time, peace.